Okay, the Tao that can be spoken is not the real Tao. The vacuum that can be described in some way is not the true vacuum, because the true vacuum is the source of both non-existence and existence. And that is actually a way of describing it that the Rig Veda from the Hindu tradition says, and that quote is even older than the Tao-Te Ching. It's closer to 3,000 years old. I'm not going to dwell on it. I've dwelled on it in many different ways on blog posts. What we've got is a big V vacuum, which is on the fringes of existence, but not existence. And how do you get something that comes out of that? Well, ultimately, it's a paradox. You can get something to come out of it, but you can't describe how, because it's coming out of this ineffable, the vacuum that cannot be spoken, the Tao, the Tao. So, in physics terms, we have some clues as to how it might have happened, and at least some of the ways. But again, like abiogenesis, there isn't probably just one way that it might have happened. You can throw together chemicals in a whole lot of different ways and probably end up coming up with life eventually, different environments, all that. So it's not necessarily a single way, but there is, I'm gonna talk about one way, which is maybe closest to our what physics can describe for us. But first we're going back to the Tao-Te Ching and see what they have to say about this, because they did. I mean, Lao Tzu basically explains it as well as physics does. And we go to chapter 42 of the Tao-Te Ching now, and it talks about the Tao gave birth to the One. Okay, that's the first line of this chapter 42. The Tao gave birth to the One, and I'll interpret that as meaning the ineffable Tao that cannot be spoken gave birth to the Tao that can be spoken in some kind of a primordial particle. And we'll leave it at that until we talk about the physics. But it could be pretty much anything coming out of this mysterious, another way I've described it in my blogs is the cosmic rabbit hole, or the portal to the zeroth dimension. You can use terms all you want. You can explain it, describe it all you want, this big V vacuum, but it's ineffable. You cannot actually adequately describe it. So, the Tao that cannot be spoken became some kind of an initial excitation. And in our case, it's probably a quantum field, or a precursor quantum field. And that's the first step. The next line of the Tao-Te Ching, chapter 42, says, simply, the One became two. Well, what that means in physics may be that what it means in the Tao-Te Ching, or in Chinese mythology and lore, is that the One separated into yin and yang, the primal opposing forces of reality. So you have like the black versus white, or male versus female, or just everything that are opposites. So the One became two. The primordial particle became, or represents, perhaps a particle pair, like the electron and the positron, that pop out of the observable small V vacuum spontaneously and have real known physical effects, which, for example, the Casimir Effect. The vacuum really does have these so-called virtual particles, and they actually do stuff in our real world. They actually have an effect. So the 1 became 2, and now the third line of the chapter 42 is that the 2 became 3. Simple enough. Let's once again say hello to your beautiful confluence of streams. And let's pause this video again. The 2 became 3.